Hello, it's Emily with Wellness for Generations. If you're jumping on the replay, hashtag replay. And we are going to be interviewing Amy today. Let me go ahead and get her invited real quick. Alright, let's see here. Alright, and Amy is a holistic health scientist and health mentor. She is also a Reiki practitioner and a yogi, and she also teaches dance. She lives in Wisconsin, but she takes clients all over for health coaching. Hey, Amy. So just doing a quick intro. Let me see if I missed anything here. She helps individuals listen to their bodies, dig into the source of inflammation, and create a plan to rid people of different issues. There's a list of them. And she has a three-pronged approach through a clean diet, a green home life, and a fresh mindset. So welcome, Amy, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And thank goodness that the technology is working this time.
Yes. Yes, definitely. So go ahead and tell us a little bit more about you to start off. Just kind of whatever you want.
All right. So the Cliff Notes version of who I am. I'm originally from Minnesota. If you ask me where my favorite state is, it is Minnesota. I love traveling, but Minnesota is my home state. Nice. Currently in Wisconsin. I have 3 boys, ages 1, 4, and 5. I almost said 3. Just had a birthday. 1, 4, and 5, all boys. They are all boys. Married to a police officer. I also have 2 dogs who are also boys. So the next dog is going to be a female. I gotta have some little balance with the hormones in the house here. Yes. I grew up dancing. I was a competitive dancer for 11 years. Danced for longer than that. And I'm actually coaching dance right now at a local dance studio. Our team actually just came back from Florida at the end of April, world champions. First time world champions for open pom. It was the first, open kick. Open kick. This was the first time that they had this category, and they came home first place world champions. I am so stinking proud of these guys.
That's cool.
And that's kind of like other stuff that I do on the side. Love reading, love being outside. We have 2 family cabins in Minnesota. One's in central Minnesota. One is up in the boonies, Iron Range area, if you know general Minnesota geography. Almost shouting distance to Canada. It's very far north. Love spending time there. They're both lakeside properties, which is beautiful, gorgeous. Yeah. We are very, very lucky. I will be the first one to tell you that we are extremely lucky to have that. And I guess that's kind of the whole gist of everything. I could ramble some more, but I think I'm going to start repeating myself, so I'm just going to stop.
That's fine. So were you taught a healthy lifestyle growing up?
To a certain extent, we were always encouraged the whole fruit, vegetable stuff, but we weren't really drilled with anything. We weren't given the whole, this is, good food, this is not good food. That really wasn't hammered in. It was just kind of a general, we eat more this and less of that. So we still had our chips. We had our pop. It is pop in Minnesota. We had our pop. I actually would have a can of pop after dance class most nights when I was there. So it wasn't really restricted per se.
Right. Okay. Cool. And let's see. Tell us about your business and what you do first.
So with my business, I ended up a little bit of a background. I had been working in a research and diagnostic lab for 7 years. During that time, I was doing a lot of independent research on autoimmune issues, especially since there's 3+ generations of autoimmune issues in my family. We got tons on it all comes from my mom's side, and then from my mom's side, it splits off in both her mom and her dad's side. So we get a lot of autoimmune issues in the family. And right around the time when my first son was born, one of my aunts, my mom's one of 7, one of my aunts was undergoing the diagnosis process to get a diagnosis for her autoimmune issues that she was having. And while I was researching what she was going on, I was learning even more about autoimmunity and inflammation and things that can trigger autoimmune issues. Mm-hmm. And so that's really been a big inspiration and why I got into what I'm doing right now. Because not too long after that, after my aunt got diagnosed, I ended up getting fired from my job. Although, ask them, I voluntarily resigned. Long story, I didn't want to quit, but they forced me to.
Yeah.
So I say that I was fired. So after that, I needed something to look forward to. I did some job applications. I was almost hired for an insurance company. It's like, oh, no, I really don't want to do that. So I decided I was just going to stay home, teach yoga, and raise the kids for a little bit. But I knew at some point I wanted to get back into the workforce. And while I was waiting, I ran across the whole, why don't you become a health coach? Yeah. I don't remember where I saw it. You know what? I'm already doing it. Yeah. Let's get certified and go for it. So that's basically what I did. And my area of focus is autoimmune issues, inflammation issues, because this is something that I have to deal with.
Right.
Like there is no, well, it's not going to happen to me. It's like, no, right. I have very, very strong genetic predisposition to having an autoimmune issue. So I want to do everything that I possibly can to reduce that risk. Right. Genes are one thing. It's what's the saying? Genes load the gun, the environment pulls the trigger. So right. I'm trying to remove as much environment as I can so that trigger isn't pulled.
Right, definitely.
So that's that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right.
Because I know there's more people in this boat than just me. There's where do we at? To a couple trillion people on this planet.
Really bad.
There's more than just me.
Right. Yeah,
there's more than just me in this boat, and there's people that are earlier in this whole realization of what's going on with them, and there's people a little bit later in this whole realization of what's going on with them. And due to my science background, I feel that I have a really unique perspective on everything, because not only do I have the science behind everything, but I also have the alternative and traditional stuff underneath my belt as well, because I truly, truly believe that you can't just use medical science. It's there, it's wonderful, it works amazing, but there's a lot of limitations with it.
Right.
So that's where I bring in, more environmental stuff, getting into the clean and, more natural cleaning supplies, the more natural body products, personal products, even keeping a more natural yard, the stuff that if you're going into your yard every day, well, that stuff is being picked up on you. It's being tracked into your house, and your family's getting exposed to it. So it's not just, what the doctor can do. Like, there's other things that you can do too to limit that exposure. And I feel with everything and all the processes and the people that I've worked with and the research that I've done, I think it's a really nice marriage between the two, between the modern medicine and then the traditional holistic alternative side of everything. So it creates a truly holistic model of healing, and it puts you in the driver's seat.
Right. Yeah, and that's definitely the important part, because I know of so many people that want to try other stuff, but they want sorry
it's okay,
but they don't have those options because they're only seeing a doctor, and so they're only getting prescribed those things, and they aren't getting the other options,
or they're not aware of the other options either. Sometimes they don't know that chiropractic care can help,
Mhm.
or Reiki can help, or traditional Chinese medicine can help, or there's, I just watched this documentary called Remedy. It's all about herbology. And if you haven't seen it, it's really, really interesting. They just finished up a free viewing, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to come on again. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But it's using plants and nature all around us. And a lot of the medicines that we use actually started out in nature.
Right.
And then they just isolated the active compounds, and then they put a patent on it, and then they're selling it as a drug, which works.
Right.
Works fast. But we didn't get sick fast. So we can't expect to get healthy fast.
Right.
So using some of these things in their natural state helps gradually bring us back into that healthy state once again, or at least closer to that healthy state, in a manner that your body can actually handle.
Right. Yeah. That's very cool.
And not everybody knows about that, or has the patience, the patience. We're a very impatient society. And yeah, that's just a huge thing, that you need to have that patience.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't have time to be sick. I gotta get better quick. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. My husband, he was, my son got him sick. My husband has a very low immune system, and John got him sick, and he had it for quite a while, and he was like, I just need to take something. And so he did. He got Mucinex, and he was like, I can't believe how good I slept. I can't believe we're not using this. I'm like, Alan, like, but that's okay for like right now, but like, let's not make this a continual thing, and he knows, he doesn't have all of the stuff that he's away for work, so he doesn't have all of the stuff that I have at home. So,
well, and sometimes too, you need that little bit of that instant gratification in order to allow your body to do what it needs to do.
Right. Yeah.
Like sleep is so important. Yes. And if you're not sleeping, you're not going to get healthy faster.
Yeah, that's what he's struggling with. He's like, I wake up in the middle of the night all the time just coughing. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not with you. I can't help you.
Yeah, it's such a delicate balance, and only you can figure out where you lie on that.
Right, definitely.
Like I can tell you what I would do, but that doesn't always work for you. Right. Everybody has to find their own balance between, doing things naturally and doing things medically.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what is kind of your mission and your purpose?
Well, I guess I kind of touched that a little bit, like indirectly, but really just to get this information out.
Okay.
Everybody knows about the pharmaceutical stuff. You can't get away from it.
Right.
You see the commercials, and they're all happy, and they're skipping, and they're smiling. And then if you actually listen to the commercial, 80-90% of it is, well, these are some of the reactions that you could have, and if this happens, or this happens, or this happens, or this happens, stop doing it. Stop taking the drug, contact your physician, contact your provider. But that's all they know,
right? Because
that's what's all. That's in the media.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the media, some of their largest donors are the pharmaceutical companies. So of course, everybody's going to know about that aspect of it. But not everybody knows, or will even, sometimes they won't even appreciate the more natural side of things, because, we've been programmed almost. The propaganda machine is excellent. It is top notch. I'm impressed.
Yeah, definitely. I know.
They put just that little seed of doubt into, well, no, the herbs aren't going to work. That's hocus pocus. That's hippy dippy stuff. Energy work? What the heck? That's all placebo effect.
Hey,
none of that works.
If it's placebo, well, at least it works.
Like, none of that works.
Right.
There's truth behind it, but because it's not being promoted, that it's not, you don't have the commercials for it, it is met with so much doubt. It's met with so much obstruction, because you have these companies, while they produce good products that do good things, mostly, you're missing out on another layer of health.
Right.
And what I want to do is bring a little bit more legitimacy to it, to bring the science behind it. Like, there is science behind this stuff, but you don't hear about it because you can't patent it.
Right.
If you can't patent it, you can't make money off of it.
Right.
So really, it's just bringing that information out, and saying that, yeah, this stuff does work. There are scientific studies that have been done that's saying that, yeah, this thing do work. There is some healing properties with this stuff.
Right.
Does it happen overnight? No.
Not at all.
But there is some truth behind this. And if this works for you, if you don't have any contraindications, you can try it.
Right.
And see if it works for you.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just getting the message out, getting that legitimacy behind a lot of these things out, to let other people know that you don't have to just use medical doctors. You can use a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. You can use an acupuncturist. You can use a chiropractor. These people go to school.
Right.
Like, they they go to recognized schools. They go to great lengths to learn about their crafts. And their work is backed up.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be around if it wasn't backed up.
Right. Right. Or if it didn't work, like all of these ancient remedies and stuff, like they've been working. That's why they're still around. It's not like, anyway. So tell us about your business and what you do as a health coach. Maybe a little bit about your approach.
So you kind of mentioned about my approach. I go at the problem with 3 different directions. First, with food, because you literally become what you eat.
Yes.
We're constantly regenerating our cells in our bodies. So you literally become what you eat. So I go after with food. Then I hit the environment. So what cleaning products you're using, what personal products you're using, what home and garden products, like stuff outside, what are you using there? And then I go about it with mindset, fresh mind. I mentioned, did I mention? I don't know if I mentioned that I also teach yoga. And there's a lot of mindset work that you learn when you're going through teacher training with that. And the mind is extremely powerful. Again, another scientifically backed thing. Individuals who have a more positive mindset not only typically get less infections, they still get sick, but when they do get sick, it's not as often, and they get over it faster. So if you're constantly, digging at yourself, you have this negative mindset, yeah, you're going to get sick more often. Yeah, it's going to take longer for you to get healthy. So trying to reverse all of that, giving different mantras or sayings, even if you don't believe it right now, just the words themselves are so powerful. There's been a lot of studies coming out, in the last couple of years. One of them was actually floating around Facebook not too long ago. The 2 plants in those enclosed cages at school. The one of them, they were, I love you, you're gorgeous, you're amazing. All of these really positive words and affirmations were given to the one plant, and the other one, oh, you suck, you're not the right shade of green or whatever, but it was all these negative things. And the plant that was given all those positive words flourished. It was going nuts. It was growing. It was beautiful. It was lush. And the other one was sickly. Yeah. So even our own words that other people say to us, words that we say to ourselves, have an effect on our health. Right. So even if you don't believe the words right now, just saying the words can have a positive effect.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Louise Hay is a wonderful, wonderful person who did a lot of work on this. She passed away a year or two ago. She passed away recently.
Okay.
But she has wonderful books with all that stuff. So if you haven't heard of Louise Hay, check her out.
Yeah, I think I have. I think I've heard of 2 of her books, and I think they're both on my Amazon list.
Yeah, which one do I have? I have, and it's not in my reach. It's back there.
Yeah.
Right back there.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, you can heal yourself. You can heal your life. I think that's one of the main ones that she has.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I remember hearing about. So since you have done research at a lab on the gut and the microbiome, do you want to share a little bit about the microbiome and how that affects our health?
Oh, it's so cool. I just read something recently. Actually, luckily enough, I have the actual paper here. So we have our own little ecosystem inside of our body, in and out of our bodies. About 95% of our microbiome actually lives inside of the large intestine.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those bugs are responsible for a lot of the digestion that happens with the foods that we eat. They're also responsible for a lot of the immune system we're learning. They're responsible for a lot of biosynthesis of vitamins and minerals that we need. So imagine our gut and our overall microbiome, because it's not just the large intestine, but it's also our skin, inside of all the mucous membranes. They're everywhere. We are not sterile.
Right.
Even places that they think that we were sterile, we're not sterile. They have even found bacteria in the amniotic fluid in a preborn baby.
Right.
So nothing is sterile.
Nope.
Nothing. So there's been a lot of studies that are looking at the effects of gut health and the levels of the different bacteria that are in the gut and how that affects your health, because it goes both ways. What you eat influences what is in the gut, but then also what's in the gut kind of influences what's going on around you. So it's a two-way street that's going on. And the one study that I read recently had to do with diversity and the kind of diet that you consume. And this one is specifically looking at more of that keto style diet, so a higher fat, low carb diet. And with this particular study, which is done in China, after a 6-month period, because they only tested the microbiome at the beginning of the study and at the end of the 6 months. Okay. And they only compared individuals who actually fully completed the study. So if you kind of dropped out in the middle, those were data points that were taken out.
Right.
So they discovered after those 6 months that with this particular diet, the high fat, low carb, you get a decrease in diversity in your microbiome. And just like any ecosystem, diversity indicates health. The more diverse, the healthier you are. Right. We hear that all the time about the rainforest. The diversity of the rainforest means a healthy rainforest. And it's the exact same thing, except on a micro scale inside of us. So that particular study showed us, if you have this kind of diet, you reduce the diversity of your own microbiome. All the individuals, and there were 3 different groups that they were following, each with a different level of fat percentage with the macronutrients. So the only macronutrients that changed were the fat and the carbs. Protein stayed the same. So all 3 groups, they all lost weight, but the diversity changed of their microbiome. So it's a really cool study that came out. It was published at the beginning of this year. And if you guys want a link, I'll drop it off in the comment section here below, because I do have the link for this.
Okay, perfect.
But it just really indicates that what you do has a really big effect on what's going on with your microbiome. So it's not just, I lost a Post-it note. I got too bright of a light, so I'm trying to dim it out a little bit here. So it's about what you eat, but you also want to consider the diversity.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because that diverse microbiome is really what's going to give you the most benefit with an overall healthy life.
Right.
Now, not everybody can go and test their stool on a regular basis. Some people are really squeamish about poop. Mm-hmm. I worked in a GI lab. I don't have issues with poop. We had a lot of poop jokes because we worked with poop. But it's one of those things where your stool tells a lot about your health.
Right.
You know, we had a saying, just in general, if you're not pooping, something's wrong.
Yeah.
How your poop looks can determine a lot about your health as well. And there's charts that you can look up online, and it goes with color and shape and texture and all that stuff. It gets rather very detailed, which is really good.
Right.
But it's something that a lot more of us need to be getting more comfortable with, because that does tell a story of what's going on in our gut. It won't tell us the diversity level, but it's the first step to kind of figuring out, you know, do I have a healthy bowel?
Right. Right. Yeah, I am. Yeah. People that have met me recently are like, probably think I'm crazy. Because I, like, if anyone brings up like a health issue, I'm like, so when was the last time you pooped? I mean, it's just normal conversation for me.
Right, right.
We can talk it over at dinner. I will talk about poop. Yeah.
Yes.
We talk about poop here. It's definitely, poop is not a taboo topic.
Yeah, my husband will disagree with me. I have a lot stronger stomach when it comes to appropriate dinner conversation.
Oh yeah, me too.
But then again, one of our best friends is a mortician, so we also talk about that a lot when we get together.
Hey, that works too.
Yeah,
Great.
we can handle quite a lot at the dinner table.
Definitely. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so you talked a little bit about your coaching, a little bit about your background with microbiome. Are you working on anything new? What are you working on right now?
So one of the things that has been kind of at the back of my mind is this, in the shortest version, it's an 8-week program.
Okay.
It is influenced by the 8 limbs of yoga.
Okay.
And essentially what it does, it's like a whole mindset shift.
Okay.
How do we approach the food that we eat? How do we approach our thoughts about cooking and trying new foods? How do we approach movement? Because I don't like saying exercise. Right. When you say exercise, people are just, go to the gym, run on the treadmill, lift some weights, try some machines, maybe try them really poorly and end up on one of those gag reels on Facebook.
Right.
The exercise, as in general, has a really negative connotation, like a chore. Nobody likes doing chores. So I like saying movement. Mm-hmm. So how we, like the whole mindset against exercise,
yes.
you know, how do we approach movement? Can we change that exercise word and insert movement? What kind of movement did I do today?
Right.
So it goes through, very basic, rudimentary, okay, what are some negative mindsets that I have about stuff right now?
Right.
how is this hurting me? What can I do to change it?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the opposite end of that, what are some positive things that are going right now? What are some positive mindsets that I have? Can I apply that positivity to these things that I have this negative mindset about?
Right. Hey everyone, we're gonna make a part 2 because I had a timer that I was on social media too long today, so that paused my feed here. So let me grab Amy again real quick, and let's see if she's on here, and we will finish talking about her program. Give me 1 second here. Apparently I was on social media too much today. That happens. Hang on. Here we go. Hang on. I am waiting for Amy to jump on because we had to restart. There she is. Alright. Okay.
Hey.
Apparently I was on social media too long today. Whoops. Okay, so you're talking about your youth course.
Yes. So yeah, it's all about mindset on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And really, if you don't have the right mindset, nothing really gets accomplished. You know, if anybody's dealt with, mental or emotional issues, it's really easy to get stuck in your head. It's really easy to get stuck in your rut. It's almost as if you're afraid to do something new, even though you want and need to do something new. So the whole program is really about lifting yourself up, realizing that you can do this, and it's not going to be as scary as you think it was going to be.
That's really exciting.
I've been really stinking excited about it since I first thought about doing it. Which I was cleaning the yoga studio after class when I figured, light bulb moment comes off and you get really excited. You write it down so you don't forget about it. So it's gone through a couple of iterations. I really enjoyed the initial name that I had for it, but upon a little bit more meditation on the whole topic, I wanted to kind of step away from the really yogic centric aspect of the name. Because some people get really, am I going to have to really do yoga? Yoga means yoga pants, and I don't look good in yoga pants. I can't even touch my toes. I'm not bendy. So I wanted to not only honor the practice of yoga, I didn't want to Americanize it, but I also wanted to make it more accessible to people who do have that kind of negative connotation when you hear the word yoga. Like, oh, you're just a yoga teacher. It's like, no, it's just yoga. No, it's not. So I ended up calling it my heart program. So HEART is an acronym for Health Enlightenment Academy for Renewal and Transformation.
I like that.
So, like I said, it's the mindset work. It is giving yourself that boost. Because really, you're the only one that has the power to do things.
Right.
So it's giving yourself that boost. It's giving your heart that boost.
Yes.
You know, it's loving yourself on all levels of your person. So that's the main thing that I'm working on right now. Goal is to have it set for its first run this fall.
Yay! That was going to be my next question.
Yeah. So,
awesome.
I'm quite a bit of perfectionist about some things. I really want to make sure that I also have a lot of the kind of the background cited. You know, I want to have the sources of a lot of my stuff as well, which slows me down.
Yeah.
But I also want to really show that, no, I put a lot of work into this. I put a lot of thought into this. There's legitimacy behind what I'm trying to show you, what I'm trying to guide you in. And that's one of the things when it comes to even just what I'm calling myself, because you can literally go and buy yourself a health coach certificate without any training. So it's a really muddied word these days. And I did not just the health coach training, but I have the scientific background. I have a degree in the sciences. I have the yoga training. I have the training with Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner. You know, I put work into all of this.
Right.
So it's not just money, it's time, it's dedication. So that's why I call myself a mentor. You know, I'm mentoring you to get you into a place where you want to be. Right. So awesome. I want to have all of this, you know, these resources to show. It's like, yeah, this stuff works. So if you're like me and you like looking into all that stuff, it's there. If you're not like me and you don't like looking into that stuff, you can say, okay, whatever, and not save it, not print it. But you know that there's legitimacy behind what I'm giving you, that what I'm showing you.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, I'm excited. I can't wait for it to go out.
I know, so am I.
All right, 2 more questions, and then just the final closing question.
Yeah.
And my, well, I don't know if I can see it. Anyway, my battery life, though I charged my phone before this, is dying quickly. So, anywho, what is one key element for someone to start moving the needle with their health?
Action.
It's a good one.
You gotta have action, and not just any action. It has to be purposeful action. I actually posted something literally today about purposeful action. You know, it's one thing to be in that forward motion, trying to figure out what you want to do. But if you don't have purposeful action, it's like you're in a rowboat, and typically rowboats have 2 oars. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have purposeful action, you lost an oar.
Right.
So you might be able to kind of go in a direction. You're going to be spinning around a lot. Mm-hmm. It's going to take you longer to get to where you need to go. So not just action, but purposeful action. And it doesn't have to be big.
Right.
You know, it's putting that can of pop down and going for water, or or putting down the chips and going for carrots and hummus. You know, it's those small things, and those small things build up. They build up on the unhealthy side, and they build up on the healthy side.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So purposeful action.
I like it. That's a good one. What is one change you want to see be passed down to future generations regarding wellness?
Really just the whole idea that we are a part of nature, that what we do not only affects ourselves, but affects the world around us. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% like truly green yet.
Yeah.
as the slang is today, being green. But being very conscious about, what you're using, what you're getting rid of, what kind of footprint you're making. Just being very conscious about all of that, and realizing that we're not the only things living here.
Mm-hmm.
We happen to be the dominant species,
Right.
but we are not the only things living here. And what we do directly affects what is around us.
Mm-hmm.
So throwing pesticides down in our lawns,
Mm-hmm.
or throwing herbicides down in our lawns to get rid of the weeds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then what's going to happen with the bee population?
Right.
The bee population's already suffering for multiple reasons.
Right.
Without bees, there is no food for us to eat. The majority of our food crops are pollinated by bees.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to really hammer that in. It's like what we do affects things not only today around us, but for generations to come.
Yes. It's one of my favorite things. Yeah. That was my original slogan, which was what you do today affects tomorrow's generations.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does. Every thought that we have impacts the next day.
One extra little thing on top of that.
Yes.
Whether you're man or woman, what you do to yourself affects your own children.
Right.
What you use on yourself, what you eat yourself, becomes what your children become.
Right.
So that's another thing too. It's not just your surrounding environment, it's your internal environment and your own offspring.
Yes.
And men are not immune from this.
No,
Like they play a role.
They do.
It takes more than just a single person to have a child.
Right.
There needs to be two parties. How those parties meet, there's lots of ways those parties can meet. But the fact that is you need male and female in order to, or male sex, female sex to come together to make a child. And the health of the parents directly affects the health of the child.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Awesome. I love talking to you. Do you want to share a little bit about where people can find you? And I do have all of your links to share.
Yes. So I spend the vast majority of my time on Facebook. I shouldn't, but I do. It's something I've been used to since that was a thing that came out in college. So you can find me on Facebook. I have my page, Ballele Wellness. That's going to be in the links. I also have been doing a lot more focused work on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, please check me out. I'll throw that list down there too if that's not on there. And I also have my, sorry, I'll throw that on there. But I also have my website. There is some blog posts on there. Things haven't been updated too recently, meaning within the last year. I had a child and was dealing with all of that, adding a third child and all the stuff that happens after that. Yep. So there isn't a whole lot of new blogs on the website. I have a couple that I'm working on. They just haven't been published yet. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the work that I am putting out, at least putting awareness out. So I'm sharing a lot of other works. That's majority on my Facebook page, Ballele Wellness, and then I do throw some stuff over on my LinkedIn page as well.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. And I will also share your listing and your Instagram account as well. So I will get all of those posted here.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Yes. I may have talked a little bit. I like talking, especially to other adults, because I talk to children all day. But I'm really passionate about this stuff too. Yes. So it's really easy to just keep on talking and talking and talking.
Oh, I know. I totally understand. I do the same thing. So awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a good rest of your evening.
You as well. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.